5. Edition 33 and 34. Published by Research Institute Andishe Online-Germany. Master Elahi solved the riddle. After 30 years of research on religion, holy books and texts, and of course of science, which can answer the frequently asked questions of mankind, and according to a separate summary of the theories which exist in the relationship, plus from what I have understood from mythical and religious Genesis reports, I am convinced that the only person who can answer the above questions with his teachings, and thus can be regarded as an appropriate source of knowledge, is Ustad Elahi, in brackets, Master Elahi. His teachings and philosophy are able to explain the whole of existence from A to Z and to answer scientific questions. His teachings, based on undeniable reason, are scientifically explainable. That is the great goal that I want to tackle in this book, and to prove its ultimate truth, provided that the term evidence is a relative term. Of course, I know that what is an absolute truth for me can be a mere assertion for other people. However, I am sure that after reading the whole book, these people will change their minds. What made me write this book is also the fact that with Master Elahi's teachings, René Descartes' idea of a universal method for researching the truth can be realized. This may seem like a big promise at first, but it is an assertion that I will try to fulfill in this book with knowledge from the scientific fields of biology, genetics, particle physics and chemistry, etc. Such research requires a great deal of information that I have acquired over the past 20 years, in brackets, until 2010, with continuous study of all of Master Elahi's works that have already been published. Unfortunately, this alone was not enough to theorize the information gained from his teachings in a scientifically acceptable form. In addition, I still lacked countless precise information from the various areas of natural science. To solve this problem, I tried over about 5,000 hours to gain the necessary knowledge from the above-mentioned areas of natural science, especially from the area of biology, and to understand them thoroughly. Another problem was that I had to combine the information categories of both worlds with each other. In order to achieve this, I needed tangible commonalities with which I could bring the terms of the two dimensions closer together. Finding these facts was an effort that took me hundreds more hours, as did combining them with each other and thereby building a foundation from which to carry out a serious study. Only through the above efforts and with a continuous and disciplined focus on his teachings have I been able to establish a spiritual connection with Master Elahi and thus bring the facts into a reasonable order. Only such an immaterial connection with him, which is very sacred to me, gave me the chance to understand his teachings well and to interpret and analyze them under his spiritual supervision. The result of this precious connection are the reference books, and of course some more books that I have written to this day in my mother tongue, namely Persian. These reference books are titled Biology of the Second Dimension and Creation from Ustad Elahi's Point of View, New Particle Physics. As distinguished readers will find, although Ustad Elahi's teachings can be explained with scientific terms, they do not contradict the reports of religions regarding Genesis. It is known that religious truths and academic sciences sometimes cross paths. Master Elahi was the only one contacting hidden rings, putting them in their correct places and thus solving the mystery of existence once and for all. I call this type of worldview, which was developed and presented by Ustad Elahi, integrated science. If we divide the history of science into 4 scientific groups, at least in this contemporary civilization, we come to the 4 following periods. 1. The ancient philosophy. 2. Newton-Descartesian philosophy and science. 3. Heisenberg quantum considerations. 4. Worldview of integrated science. In my opinion, we are in the 4th phase. This will be the last time cycle of science in this civilization, and no other science will appear that is more perfect than integrated science. It is my job to prove the above claim. something about the book. I have divided this book into 4 chapters. In Chapter 2, we deal with deciphering the riddle and analyzing topics such as what happened before and during the Big Bang, how primal fermions and thus the multiverses and living beings originated or were created, how the earthly souls were created, how life on Earth began, etc. In Chapter 3, we deal with types of souls, earthly living things, creatures, and their souls, the development of souls, the relation of souls to their bodies, who is a human being, what tasks he has to do on Earth, etc. We also split symbolically 2 dimensions of a person up and examine them thoroughly. In this chapter, for the first time, non-visible phenomena that interact with the body, such as the psyche, are localized, thereby explaining many inexplicable brain processes. In Chapter 4, we look at the root cause of diseases, including physiological diseases. The analysis of the mental energy processes in connection with the karma system and the preparation of instructions is another topic that we will deal with. In order to fully understand the aim of the book, I ask you, dear readers, to study the text without prejudice and to the end, even if some topics seem to be complicated or do not satisfy your taste. The topics of this book are presented in such a way that they are understandable even for readers without previous academic knowledge. It should be noted that all discussions in this book correspond to the current state of science. I must also emphasize that all interpreted topics that relate to Ustad Elahi's teachings are based on my translations and my understanding. That means the content of this book is what I have learned from these teachings and used to explain the topics. It should also be mentioned that in this book I have in fact restricted myself to only 2 central topics of Ustad Elahi's teachings and have thus analyzed and theorized the origin of existence in general. Of course, Ustad Elahi's teachings and works are much more extensive. For example, the essential part of his writings concerns ethics, which is different from what we understand by it. His teachings include cosmology, theology, and a specific spiritual system design. The latter deals with answering difficult questions, such as, for what reason does the world exist? Is there a final sense of it? Also, for the fact that it is set up exactly as it is. If there is a God, what can we learn about him? What is the hereafter, other world? What are the laws in this dimension, in the hereafter? What is the soul? What types of souls are there? And what relationship do they have with each other? Is the soul immortal? What is the basic relation between mind and matter? Do we have free will? Which maturation processes must a soul have experienced in order to be able to acquire the rank of perfection? What is EQFM, essence, quantum forward movement, etc.? In conclusion, it should be noted that the investigation of the topics does not start at the point where scientists and philosophers like René Descartes left off, but independent of their considerations, namely with the beginning of everything, only depending on the creation report of Ustad Elahi, that is well before the emergence of time and space. Caution: these articles are not the whole book, but some of the most important topics. In the following articles, among other interpretations, will be the masterful cooperation between soul and body, which was always hidden in mysterious darkness, clearly and scientifically interpreted and presented. This is the only way to reasonably explain the existence of man. Research and study. Farah Mars Tabish. Main source, the book Biology of Quantum Dimension, by Farah Mars Tabish. Next subject, 3. Quantum Dimension of Matter. 3.1. Tokyo Experiment.